I used to be afraid of you, but I don't think I am anymore.
There's nothing to fear except God.
For me, God is a disease.
It's the things that make you look at what you thought you saw in a different light. The hole in the Pentagon being too small for a plane. The lawn isn't mussed up. The government's not showing the plane hitting when many cameras photographed it.
There's nothing to fear except God. God. God.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask?
It's too big.
Back and to the left. 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 Back and to the left.
Last week on Half of God's Face podcast. Timothy Chalamet? Really? Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Because of course, if I put this part out, and then I don't like Marty Supreme, people are going to be like, "See, you
Last
don't
week
even
on
give it a
Half of
chance."
God's Face podcast, Timothy Chalamet, really?
Before I even see the movie,
You should like just have this play for next episode, like.
Oh yeah, that should be
previously
a flashback.
on.
That should be a flashback. That's such a good idea.
And then, all right. So, what are you gonna say about that?
Holy shit! I'm literally gonna do that. That's such a good idea. Write that down.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I'll put this in the beginning of next week's episode. What's up, everybody? We are here. Happy 2026. I'm here with Austin once again, who I've never said anything negative about Austin ever.
Not this year.
And I never will. And obviously, everyone knows that I never say anything mean about anybody. I'm just a very nice person. And, it's like what Hillary used to say. When they go low, we go high. And that's kind of our motto here at Half of God's Face when it comes to shit talking. But anyway, that's not the reason. That's not the reason we're here today. The reason we're here today is to discuss another movie that our listeners and people in the country and people we're friends with are seeing. Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet, who is a big star actor, and it is worth doing an episode on for a lot of reasons. And yeah, it seems like he is really in the conversation to be potentially getting an Oscar. We'll see. I don't know. We'll talk about it this episode. But yeah, Austin, he as usual saw the movie, about 10 minutes ago. So he's prepared. He has a better memory of it than I do. I saw it on Christmas Day with my mom and stepdad, and it was a pretty cool. I want to see the new Avatar. I do enjoy seeing the Avatar movies with 3D glasses and stuff. It's like a cool experience, like for the visuals and all that. But it's so long that I'm also just kind of dreading it. I'm like, ugh, it's just gonna be like it's like 3.5 hours long. Like, I don't know how excited I am for 3.5 hours of Avatar, but So that was kind of the discussion for Christmas Day. And the day before Christmas, I saw Hamnet as well.
Oh, I need to see that.
Which it's really good. I liked it a lot. There's like really specific things about it that are kind of like in the Shakespeare lore that I did not expect to come up in the film. And I think it's kind of based on a novel, so I don't think it's like historically accurate or anything, but it's like a really compelling like story about imagining why Hamlet would have been written, and it kind of builds towards that. And it's really a surprise. I mean, it's a little melodramatic. And the acting is a little over the top at times, but it kind of makes sense because it is just a really kind of it's a very serious movie, but it ends up being pretty moving, honestly. And the performances end up being really good. there, you know, I actually, the lead dude I thought was more understated than I was expecting. Jessie Buckley is interesting. She's definitely talented, but I feel like I don't know. I liked her the most in the Charlie Kaufman movie.
Ooh, I'm thinking of ending things.
Yeah, but then she was in that Alex Garland movie where that was just so hard to watch. But this is kind of a mixture of those performances where it's clearly a good performance, but I still would err on the side of like, you know, I think she could probably tone it down a little bit. Like,
I
she,
think word is that she's the favorite for lead.
are you serious?
I think so.
Oh
what I've
man,
been
I
hearing.
thought that Renette. How do you know how to say her last name? It's like Reinsev or Reinsve.
For
Sentimental value.
oh yeah, I've heard that too. That movie's
I think
probably going to get
she's.
one acting award.
I think she's the best. I mean,
Mm,
she's one of the greatest actresses in the world. Like,
damn.
she's legitimately. I mean, I think she's a better actress than Mikey Madsen. Even
What?
like Renette Reinsev is. She's no. That's no joke. I mean, Sentimental Value. I very much recommend it. It's that and Hamnet are kind of in the same caliber of movie for me. They're both really well made, fairly well acted. Sentimental Value, all the performances are amazing, and she's just unbelievable. And then her father in that movie is also, I'm hearing he's in the discussion of going head to head with Sean Penn for supporting actor.
Mm.
But we'll get into all the award stuff. But yeah, I have definitely some thoughts on Marty Supreme. The screening I was at,
Yeah, you saw it with. You said your. Who'd you see it with? Your.
my mom and stepdad on Christmas.
I feel like that's not an easy movie to see with like parental figures.
Well, you know, me and my stepdad saw The Wolf of Wall Street when it opened on Christmas Day. And
Yeah.
I remember not liking the movie that first time I saw it because
Oh wow.
it was kind of uncomfortable in that way. And that's one of those movies where you don't know if the movie is like satire or if it's kind of like endorsing the characters and thinking they're awesome.
Right.
And so over the years, that movie has just aged better and better and better for me. And now I think it's like probably Leo's greatest performance, and it's a masterpiece. I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street's an untouchable classic. But when I first saw it, it was vulgar enough where I was like, and the characters were so rotten. And I guess we can kind of connect in. So I wanted to see Marty Supreme over Avatar because I didn't know like there was going to be all these like sex scenes and stuff, which is kind of funny. But I got to be honest, I was slightly uncomfortable in the first scene. I got settled in. I got settled in. I really did. I feel like the Gwyneth Paltrow scenes were a little bit like more reasonable in a weird way. It was just the fact that the movie had to start with him just like fucking Odessa Azion, who, you know, she's amazing in the movie as well. And the movie starts, it's like, so I'm literally sitting next to my mom and Timothy Chalamet just sprays his seed, and it's like a literal like animation of his jizz like making a baby inside of her, and it's like, all right.
Did you see the Ben LaBelle review on Letterboxd?
Yeah, I mean,
I saw that before I saw the movie, and I was like, "What? What is this?"
It kind of makes sense just because Timothy Chalamet, he kind of is, like, whether we like it or not, a sex symbol at this point.
Yeah.
And, you know, Call Me by Your Name, it's like a pretty explicit like gay movie. And so he's kind of always had this vibe. But before I saw the movie, I kind of had an idea what the movie was about. How many people did you see it with, by the way? Was there a lot of people there?
There was probably like 10 to 15.
Okay, yeah, I saw it at packed theater on Christmas Day.
I saw it. I saw it in the second row. I'm kind of like one of those freaks that likes looking up at the screen, like jerking my neck up.
Oh, okay, yeah, I like sitting relatively close, but I don't sit that close.
Yeah, well,
but yeah, I think I don't know where to even start with this movie. So going into the movie, I kind of had an idea that he had like kind of a relationship with both the young like smoke show Odessa Azion and Gwyneth Paltrow. I kind of knew that there was some kind of love triangle. What I thought the movie was I from the trailers and stuff, without even thinking about it, I assumed that the movie was like about like a I thought it was going to be a somewhat conventional movie about like a successful ping pong player and like the way that Timothy Chalamet and everyone was kind of building the movie up was really making it seem like this was kind of like a stereotypical sports movie. And I was really pleasantly surprised by how rotten the Marty Supreme main character is. That to me
Yeah.
really made me give a lot more credit to Timothy. I know I was talking shit about him last episode. He's undeniably a talented actor, and I mean this is really in the conversation for his best performance, and I think some of it is because the character is so like is so rotten. And here's the other thing. So I think we'll get into like the plot here in a second. This movie has one of the I mean I don't even mean this like in like a sense of like, because there's something with Josh Safdie, right? And the Safdie brothers. There's something to me where this movie and Good Time and Uncut Gems, I don't know which one of these is like the best. I think Uncut Gems or this are kind of like the exact same movie. They're kind of about like degenerate like gamblers or degenerates that their lives are falling apart and all this kind of thing. But there's something about the Softies, and obviously the Smashing Machine actually ended up kind of being a disaster. I'm sorry to say, I actually kind of liked it. I liked the performances. It's kind of understated and unexpected, but you really see now that they haven't made this movie together, you really see that Josh Safdie is like the guy of the brothers, because this is like Uncut Gems. You know what I mean? Like this is like a classic
Yeah.
that people will love and people will enjoy. So seeing it on Christmas was kind of perfect because I really wanted to see something that would have like a great memory and it would be a really good movie and be unexpected and stuff. And again, there's a lot of movies that come into the equation. And we can rank all the different performances, but I got to be honest. I think the strongest aspect of this film is definitely the cast, and it's just like an all-star team on the crew. Do you realize who is like on the crew outside of just, we'll get into the cast here in a second, but have you looked at like some of the production details?
No.
So the production designer is Jack Fisk,
Okay.
who worked with Terrence Malick, Paul Thomas Anderson. He worked with this is like his filmography. I'm looking at it. It says Eraserhead right here. Is that true? Yeah. So Google is saying, and then he Killers of the Flower Moon, Tree of Life,
Wow.
The Master, The Revenant, like pretty. I mean, just speaking of the Knight of Cups, To the Wonder, The New World,
Wow.
Mulholland Drive,
Yeah.
The Thin Red Line. Yeah, I wonder what he did on Eraserhead. He might have been. Is that true? That might have actually been inaccurate. I don't know. IMDb, I'm not seeing Eraserhead here. So that just gives you an idea of like who is on this team. It's like a pretty absurd. I mean, like that's just like one of those names where I'm like, Jack Fisk is the production designer? What?
Yeah.
That's like the reaction I have. And then the cinematographer was the cinematographer for Michael Haneke's Amour.
Oh wow.
And then he shot Midnight in Paris. And some other great movies. I'm trying to pull up his name real quick. So that's not even talking about the cast, which to me was like the most enjoyable part about seeing it with my mom and stepdad was after we got out of the movie, we were just so much of our conversation was like, did you see this person was in it? Did you notice this person?
Yeah.
And just like going into the biographical detail. And to me, that's the really the strength, the strongest aspect of the Safdie brothers cinema is that they're really just great at casting people to either play themselves, or they cast people who, they can wrong foot you too. Like, casting
Right.
Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems is kind of a legendary thing. Yeah, Darius Kanji is the cinematographer, and he worked on He worked on David Fincher's Seven.
Mm.
He did the cinematography for Eddington earlier this year.
Oh.
Cinematography for Armageddon Time, James Gray movie. It looks like he's worked with Bong Joon-ho. He did the cinematography for The Lost City of Z with James Gray. So it's like, yeah, The Immigrant. Oh my God. The cinematography from the James Gray movie, The Immigrant, is stunning. So it's like the production designer and the cinematographer are like as good as as good as it gets, like as notable as it gets, like people that are attached to classics. And then the cast, he has Tyler the Creator in kind of a small role, who's like one of the biggest music stars in the world. Timothée Chalamet, who's in the conversation for one of the biggest stars in film right now. And then Gwyneth Paltrow, who hasn't even been in a movie in 6 or 7 years.
Oh, really? It's been that long?
Yeah, apparently. And she's amazing. Like, honestly, if she gets a nomination for this, that would be pretty cool. I thought she was one of the better performances.
For sure.
But no, so just to get into the plot, and we'll start getting into more of the cast. And then Odessa Azion is kind of like a new like breakout star. So the movie is essentially about like a ping pong hustler of sorts. It starts, and he clearly impregnates this girl, Odessa, and you don't know where it's going to go. It's like this cut sequence of him like impregnating her. And it starts with that 80s music, right? Is that from the 80s, the Forever Young song?
Yes. It's
Oh
very,
my God.
very
We're not
80s.
going to get copywritten if I just start singing it, right? No, well, insert into your brain that song we've all heard. I guess that song was in Napoleon Dynamite back in the day. I was just reminded.
Oh, is that when they're like dancing at prom and like slow move? Yeah, okay.
So it's a super iconic song. And honestly, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. The music is good in this movie, and there's like a lot of like that kind of stuff, like an 80s kind of sound, and like the score is vintage softies, but it's kind of strange that they're using 80s music for a movie set in the 50s.
Right.
Like what's the justification for that, do you think?
I don't know. It's I don't know. It felt to me like really similar to like the score for Gems.
Yeah. At times the score was definitely. I'm sure it's the same composer.
Right. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit jarring because it was just kind of like I don't know. It felt very I don't know. I don't want this to sound like um a strike on the movie, but it felt like very 2020s.
Yeah, I mean, this is so funny because the people who like are just obsessed with this movie are just so pumped on the soundtrack. They're gonna get so angry if we're. But it really like artistically. It really is a question for me of like why use that Forever Young song in a movie set in the 50s. It's a little bit of a head scratcher where I don't have a justification for it. I think the music is good enough where you're kind of swept up in the feeling of the movie, but I don't know if there's a justification for that. I think that's a little bit like, it's like I don't know when people play. And this is gonna definitely people are gonna hate me saying this because obviously there's a lot of filmmakers that we love that will play incredible songs. Like I mean, One Battle After Another has the great Steely Dan song that comes in, and so the vinyl like record drop thing is like definitely a fixture of American cinema since the days of Scorsese. I mean, Kenneth Anger did this kind of thing in like the 50s, and using pop music or using popular songs or famous songs in ways that you're not expecting. But this movie, it definitely felt like why exactly use that song. I don't really have a strong opinion on that song, but there's like an irony there that I feel like it's just like the lyrics. It's like the movie's just about being like a boneheaded young man or something. So anyway, he fucks Odessa Azion. And then he goes to a ping pong tournament in which he's at a hotel and he's acting like a big shot and he's just talking shit, was making like Holocaust jokes. Says
Oh my
he's
god.
gonna end, which is crazy. And again, like I was saying about this cast, honestly, this cast is pretty insane. The
Yeah.
guy who he jokes about, who he says, I'm gonna finish him off because the Holocaust couldn't do it. You know who that is?
I'm looking at the name, but I don't recognize it.
Geza fucking Rohrig, who was the lead of Son of Saul.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Laszlo Nemes movie. And then there's this insane sequence in Marty Supreme where he's making these Holocaust jokes to Kevin
Oh my
O'Leary,
god.
who's like the guy from Shark Tank, who I thought was great in this movie. I've seen some people say they didn't think he was good, but I thought he was great.
No, he was
playing
great.
himself. Yeah, and then Marty Supreme is kind of like arrogantly talking to him and then saying, I'm going to pay for like your food, because he's trying to get with Kevin O'Leary's wife, who's like a retired actress played by Gwyneth Paltrow. And they're in this weird, awkward scene at like dinner or lunch or whatever at the hotel. And it's this insane cut of Geza Rohrig explaining how in the camps he would be made to take apart bombs by the
Right.
Nazis, and they didn't care if he like got killed. And he was out in the forest and he found all this like honey, and he just like smothers himself with honey. And he's like, I smothered myself in honey so my brothers could get nourishment. And then it cuts to all of these like Jews in Auschwitz or whatever camp it is, like licking this guy's body of honey.
That was my favorite part of the movie, because I was like, all right, this is outrageous,
That was so strange that I literally was like, okay, I'm starting to get a little bit intrigued on how wild this movie is going to be. That is a bizarre, and I was pumped seeing Geza Rohrig. He's one of the greatest actors on earth. Guess what you're never going to guess. He has been in I guess they've been in post-production. He shot a movie. I don't know if, I'm guessing it's done being shot. He's been in talks to be in like an even bigger movie than any of these movies. Next, for like
gosh.
5 years or like 10 years, it's being edited. He's playing Jesus in the new Terrence Malick movie.
Oh my gosh.
He's playing Jesus, and I think Mark Rylance is playing the devil.
Oh my god.
And I looked up there's actually a letterboxd for the film now on there's like a page for it.
Uh-huh.
It's hilarious. It's like yeah, it says the running time is 241 minutes long.
What?
So Terrence Malick has been editing a movie about Jesus for like 10 years. He's just like not even like close to done. And there's been rumors of like when he's going to get it done. But yeah, Geza Rohrig is playing Jesus in that movie. So
Oh my god.
that just if anyone listening, anyone has any idea how like the biblical proportions of some of the people in this cast. I mean, Geza Rohrig is like, that automatically puts you in like the Jim Caviezel conversation, who's another genius actor who played Jesus, who was in The Thin Red Line. And
Yup.
Malick legendarily was just mesmerized by Jim Caviezel. So anyway, in Marty Supreme, I feel like, the first little spoiler we'll give, just explaining the plot, is that the movie is not what I was expecting. When I started watching the movie, I started realizing that it was basically the same film as Uncut Gems, and Marty Supreme is like the exact same guy as Adam Sandler in that movie, just a dirtbag, right? And he's talented. I think he's more talented than Adam Sandler is in that movie. I feel like Adam Sandler is way more like, this is way more like insane. Like this guy's just kind of like a gambler, a degenerate, and he's made money and stuff. But I feel like Timothée Chalamet's guy at least is good at ping pong, but he goes to the final and he's talking shit and he's like saying he's going to win easily and he's going to be he's going to be a superstar.
Right.
And he's hyping you up. And there are these ping pong sequences. And I very cynically before the movie, before I saw the movie, I said to some friends, I said, making a movie about ping pong is like a dead end. Like it's very hard to make a good movie about ping pong. And I had
Sure.
friends push back on me because they were like, "Oh, you can make a good movie about anything." I don't believe that. I think sports movies in general. I mean, Josh Safdie said this in an interview that the movie is definitely a sports movie in the sense that sports movies are like aspirational and it's like there's like a goal and there's like a win that they're pushing for. But what I think is cool about this film is that the misdirect is that he gets to the final against this Japanese dude and
Yes.
he manages to sleep with Gwyneth Paltrow, I think before the final, right? He seduces her.
Yes.
So he's able to be really this hyped guy and like talking shit and kind of being like cringe and but also funny. And so you're seeing that he has like some like charisma. Like he just impregnated some chick in New York and he left her and now he's getting with like an old movie actress and you're like, wow, okay, so he has some kind of vibe that people like. And then he invites everyone to watch him play in this final against this Japanese dude, and he just gets completely dominated and embarrassed.
Yeah, it's like it was reminding me of like recreationally just like playing ping pong when we were in college when like some people would serve a certain way and I was just like I don't know how to fucking return this serve. And I was watching
Yeah,
that in the movie and I was wondering like is this like actually like historically accurate that like this when this kind of like style that got implemented into the game did that like was that what it's depicted like it's just like insanely difficult to read like which direction the ball is going to go
yeah, because he
because
starts
basically
serving.
you're hiding like the pong right and you're like hitting it in a way that doesn't look like it's going to go that way.
Yeah, it's something like that. There's like the Japanese dude has like a deceptive serve, and Marty is like not even close to like return. And I think some of it is nerves. Like it does seem like he just has the moment, like it's just too big for him in that
Mm.
moment, which is really embarrassing. Like it's like a letdown, like in a way, because in your mind as an audience member, you just assume this is going to be like a movie about the best ping pong player ever. That's at least what I was thinking. Like
Right.
I don't know if that was your thought process as well, but I was just like, oh yeah, this is just going to be a movie about this guy like kicking ass and at table tennis, and he gets embarrassed, and he also throws like a hissy fit. He's like throwing shit, like
He's kicking
swearing,
things, yeah.
which was really funny. Just the fact that he's like he loses his cool in such a like in such a like unprofessional way, and so he gets his ass handed to him, and he realizes that the only thing he can do now, as like a table tennis guy, is do like basically like trick, like kind of like fake table tennis for at like halftime of Harlem Globetrotter games.
Right. Well, the man that Geza plays basically it seems like they kind of have him and Marty have like a respect for each other or like a weird fucked up friendship where like he's clearly like a lot older than him and he's just dominating him in the semifinal.
Yeah, it's also kind of funny that they're friends, and Marty like talks shit, and then he just like destroys Geza Rohrig in one of the matchups, because there is a little bit of that in this movie. There is like kind of this unspoken like comradeship amongst like ping pong players, like whether it be a hustle or whether they actually be competing against each other. There's like this like love of the game where
Yeah.
they don't, they're all kind of friends in a weird way. But he gets his ass handed to him. He kind of has this meeting with Gwyneth Paltrow's husband, the guy from Shark Tank, and he wants him to like. So he at one point he pitches him and he says that Japanese dude has that like pen style of serving. It's like you're holding a
Mhm.
pen is like how he holds it, and that business guy is like a pen guy. He like makes money off of selling pens, so he's like, hey. That'd be huge in Japan. You could just sell them like that, and I don't think he takes it very seriously. And then later on, he's like, oh, that's a great idea. So then they have like this situation where they're like, okay, let's do it. Like, let's have you do promotion with the Japanese guy. You'll recreate the game that you played in Japan and you'll lose on purpose in front of the Japanese people. And
Right.
Marty Supreme basically acts like a douchebag. And then, you know, one of the plot points is that this businessman, his son had died in Japan or something. And Marty Supreme is just so ruthlessly like bringing up that his son died in World War II.
Yeah, he like laughs about it.
Which it's really funny because in my screening it was totally packed and no one was laughing at anything like the whole movie, and I was getting a little bit annoyed because I started to laugh at how
Yeah.
brutal he was being. I thought it was really funny. Like he makes a Holocaust joke and I just start laughing. My mom like made a noise like, oh geez. Like she was definitely she was like, oh no, that's brutal. And you could kind of hear like a pin drop when he made some of these jokes, but I was like, oh, this guy's funny. And so he burns the bridge with Kevin O'Leary immediately. He goes back to New York and his life just like starts to like fall apart. I think one of the things I forgot about is he at one point early in the film like kind of halfway actually robbed his like business. He works at a shoe store.
I laughed really hard at that.
Yeah, he's like pointing a gun at his
Because he's
coworker.
gonna shoot me. He's like, no, this is really happening. Okay, I have a gun at you. It was so weird.
Yeah, it was like very like, yeah.
He's like explaining like his motives, and it's so weird. He's like, I got promoted to manager. That should make you mad. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be your boss and all this thing. Because at the shoe store, they just want him to work there, and he's like,
yeah, it's his uncle that owns it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm too big for this. And so he comes back from this trip after having flipped out and acted like an asshole and burnt all these bridges. And his uncle like has him like arrested, like because he like robbed the store with a gun.
Yeah, it's kind of the same situation. He kind of has him arrested. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a cop friend of his like scaring him. And it's another funny scene where he's like, Uncle, this is not real. You're joking. You're just trying to scare me. He's like, Marty, you're gonna be the manager. He's like still determined to promote him even after. And then he's like, okay, take him to jail. He's like, no, I'll do it. And then he like runs away or something. He like gets away, and you know that's like the shot in the trailer of him running.
He's like,
with
okay,
the wife beater on.
He's like, say he's sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. And there's these moments in this film where the phrase "I love you" gets thrown around in the most like weird fucking ways.
Oh yeah, doesn't he say "I love you" to his uncle?
He's like, I love you. He's like, I love you too. And then, well, also early in the film when Tyler the Creator's character's introduced, when they're having like a really intense match, and they're like screaming at each other. He's like, I love you. Do you remember that?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're like screaming at each other and sweating. He's like, I can't follow the ball in the white shirt. I can't do it. And then he's like screaming. He's like, well, that's bullshit. And he's like, I love you. And then he like runs out of the room.
Yeah, I almost was gonna say too, before we even get to like him, like, because the movie starts to go crazy when his uncle tries to like fake arrest him. That's when everything starts to spin out of control. The other thing I'll note about the Harlem Globetrotters thing that I thought was funny is you see him playing ping pong against like a seal.
And he like has to fake like the animal getting like a point.
Yeah,
like
the seal,
like it hits it with its like
its
fucking like fin or whatever that is. I don't
even know how they did that shot, but. And did you notice that apparently there are like huge NBA players on the Harlem Globetrotters? It says
Tracy McGrady and Kemba Walker are Harlem Globetrotters.
And dude, I think George Gervin is a role in this movie too.
Yeah, he is
one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. Josh Safdie is just, and there's a whole basketball subplot to this that I can bring up here, because before he goes on his trip too, he has this sequence where he's pitching his uncle on a new type of ping pong ball, which is a huge part of the promotion for this movie, is this orange ping pong ball. And there's this huge fat guy that's like his friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you heard about how this guy got cast in the movie?
Isn't he like an NBA podcaster or like
I don't know if
influencer or something?
I don't know if he's an influencer. He might be now, but he literally was in the side talk video where the Knick fans are shitting on Trae Young.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, and Josh Safdie is like a diehard Knicks fan, just like
Oh
Timothy
no,
Chalamet.
we
So
can't
he
have more
saw-
Nick. No.
Yeah, so he saw the video, and did you see? So I don't know if I sent it to you on Instagram. It's so funny. This huge fat guy in this side talk video, he literally screams at the top of his lungs. He's like, "Trae Young, he's uglier than my dad's dick."
Yeah.
He has a
Let's
split
go.
second where apparently he looks at the people off camera and they're making faces like, "What? You've seen your dad's dick? That's crazy." It was like their reaction. And he looks them in the eyes in a split second. He goes, "Not that I've ever seen it." And then he says something like, "He's ugly," or something like that. And Josh Safdie literally contacted him, like side talk or whatever, and like had him audition for the role, and he got the part.
And he's amazing.
And he's good. Yeah, he's really funny and like kind of just like, because again, I love a mixture of like professional actors and non-actors, right? And so when the movie goes haywire, he's running from his uncle. He goes and he tries to get some help from Odessa Azion, and she's pregnant, and she's like, the baby is yours.
Oh
and
yeah,
like,
and then she becomes pregnant, and she lives with her husband.
Yeah, that guy who I think was in A Place Beyond the Pines years ago or something like that. Another really good actor who's like kind of just like like a wife beating kind of vibe guy from the 50s, like Italian guy. And they immediately are confronted with each other, and Marty is just such an asshole. This guy is also an asshole. And they both, the movie is basically a bunch of hustlers and unlikable people that are all kind of like sniping at each other. And he's run away from the police, and clearly like they start butting heads, and the guy is like, "Okay, over here, police, arrest this guy." And then Marty keeps running. He gets, meets up with Odessa Azion later, but there's another catalyst kind of scene where I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? Was he like covered in something, or did he like he needed a bath or whatever?
I think he just smelled really bad.
Yeah, so he's like on the run, and he goes to this weird hotel.
Oh yeah.
He's in this hotel, and the guy is like, "Don't take a bath or don't use the shower."
Like, don't use the shower.
And then he uses it, and the bathtub falls through the ceiling onto a man who's bathing his dog in the hotel room underneath. And do you know who that man is? The guy who he breaks his arm?
Who's that?
That's Abel Ferrara, one of the great American filmmakers. He made Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel, and then he did.
Oh, that's who that is. No shit.
King of New York with
oh my god,
what's his name? Christopher Walken. And he did The Addiction.
Yeah, okay.
Master New York kind of underground filmmaker. He's made a bunch of stuff with Willem Dafoe the last couple of years. He did. I didn't like Padre Pio as much, but he did Padre Pio with Shia LaBeouf, which to me wasn't as good as but no, yeah, Bad Lieutenant is like one of the greatest films ever made. Total masterpiece. And that's kind of, in a way, that kind of is one of the biggest inspirations for Uncut Gems, in a way, because that's also about a degenerate gambler. And in that movie, Harvey Keitel is like a heroin addict, gambler, and it's like super dark and disturbing. And there's like some really horrific scenes in the movie that are like very hard to watch. But yeah, Abel Ferrara is like a very transgressive master of American independent film, but also New York. He just exudes like New York. So he breaks his arm, and I'm immediately like, Abel Ferrara's in this movie, and he gets his arm broken by a tub falling on him. And he's just like, I need like I think he needs like something with his dog. What was the thing with his dog? He needs to give Marty money to do what?
Take the dog to the vet.
Yeah, it's taking the
Because
dog to
because
the vet.
the dog kind of gets hurt when the
Yeah,
toe
he's like,
falls on it.
you need to take the dog to the vet, and he gives him all this money. And so it's very much similar to Uncut Gems, where Marty is like kind of in this free fall, but then he'll like have like something miraculous happen. Like this guy who's like, you kind of figure out later is kind of mobbed up. And
Yeah.
this guy is like offering him a shit ton of money to take a dog to the vet. It's like easy money, but then somehow he fucks it up because then he goes and he hustles for ping pong with Tyler the
Right.
Creator, and they go running away. And then they're at a gas station, and then all the people that they hustled realize they were hustled, and they almost like they I think they chase these guys off by squirting gasoline at them.
Yeah. No, I think Tyler Creator's in the car, and then Marty Supreme is like just squirting the gasoline on them, like ha ha ha, like.
Yeah, and they start running, and then somehow this gas station like explodes, and they're like driving away.
Yeah.
And
then
then there's this. I feel like one of my favorite shots of the movie is the dog running away in that sequence.
Yeah. It's
That was
crazy.
really cool. That was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, this is actually a pretty good movie because it's a little bit over the top. It's like I really didn't like the bathtub thing that much. I was like, this is a little bizarre. Like this is a little bit too over the top, too early for me. But the way that it's kind of ignites the plot is funny. But then when you see this like kind of majestic tracking shot of the dog running into like the dust, and it like dematerializes almost, it like disappears. And when you see that, you're like, wow, that's kind of beautiful in itself. But you never think to yourself that that dog is going to become like a major aspect of the plot.
No.
Because then what happens is he kind of comes up with this scheme with Odessa where it's like, let's try to get this guy's dog back. And then, of course, the dog ends up in some crazy guy's house who has like a gun, and like this guy starts shooting at him.
Played by another great person.
Oh, yeah. Who's that?
That's Penn Jillette.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He made my favorite documentary ever, The Aristocrats.
Okay, what is that?
It's basically a joke about like the most raunchy joke you've ever heard in your entire life, where this family's auditioning for a talent show or something, and they're like, all right, show us what you do. And then you basically just take as long as you want and just go like full vulgar, disgusting, like the mom is like blowing the dog or something, and like people are puking on each, just you go crazy. And then you go, wow, that was a hell of an act. What do you guys call yourself? Then you go, we're called the Aristocrats. It's basically just like an hour and a half of people telling that joke.
Oh my God.
But in different ways. And he's also a magician?
Yeah, he's like a magician. I feel like he's like almost like a radio personality or something like that back in the day. Yeah.
Totally unrecognizable in this, though, I would say.
Penn and Teller is like the...
Right.
Yeah, so there's just endless people in this movie, like people from like all walks of life, And so anyway, it's like kind of getting, just even in recounting the movie, it's kind of getting confusing how swept up in it.
Yeah, they're basically like pivoting like different like directions to try to get some cash so he can like make it to Tokyo for the next World Championship.
Yeah, which is also kind of so he burns the bridge with Kevin O'Leary, and he like wants to like have the opportunity again. And at one point, he goes to I forget how he like figured this out, but he goes to like meet up with Gwyneth Paltrow again, and she's rehearsing for a play that Kevin O'Leary is like financing, and it's there that he starts begging him to have the opportunity that he just like blew. And he's just like, fuck you. I'm not going to help you out. You like spat in my face, essentially, when I was offering you this. And now that you're desperate, like, why would I help you, So he wants to get to Japan because he wants a rematch with the Japanese guy that beat him in ping pong.
Right. Well, also, I think at this point, like, he's trying to do it just so he can at least be in Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's more, yeah.
so he wants to just get there. So the whole movie is like you're really swept up in it, like just this chaos, and it's really funny. And he's just such a rotten, like he's so self-centered and like narcissistic, and getting into shouting matches. And they have nowhere to go. Him and this Odessa chick, and she shows up with a bruised eye,
Oh
and
God.
he's like, "Oh Jesus!" And I think he ends up going and like punching the boyfriend in the face with like a gun or
He,
like with brass knuckles or
uh,
something.
I think he takes one of his one of his wrestling trophies. Jesus Christ! He takes one of his
Oh,
ping pong trophies and just
that's
beats
what
him
it
in the
is.
face with it, and he just goes like, "Shame on you!" and then just like leaves the house.
Yeah, he knocks out the husband. He knocks him out cold. And that's the other backstory is that him and Odessa had been like, I think the character's name is Rachel in the movie.
Right.
But I always just say the actors' names. But she essentially they like grew up together is like what he will bring up, and so they have nowhere to go. And he's just kind of like has no responsibility for being the father of her kid. He's just kind of like get away from me. Like like at most he's like, oh, maybe she can help me get this dog back. But then they're like, where are we gonna stay? They go to the big fat guy's house, like where he lives with like his parents, and he's like, and also it's really funny how in every scene Marty is basically lying. Like there's so many scenes where he just like
Yeah.
invents something just to get by. He says to the fat guy like, "Oh, this is my sister," or "This is," I think he says it's his sister, and
Yeah.
she's pregnant. Her boyfriend beat her up. Like, what's she supposed to do? And then it's at that point
Yeah.
where the fat guy shows him all the ping pong balls that are orange, and he's just like, "This is a genius idea." Just ping pong balls that are orange because ping pong players will not wear white just so they could see the ball better. And he's just like, you have an orange ball. And it's like, what a great idea. Which again, before I saw the movie, I really was thinking to myself, like, what is the thing with like these little objects? Like why this obsession with the orange ping pong balls? But it ends up being kind of
Mm.
like an anticlimactic kind of thing because eventually the guy's like kicking him out, and Marty Supreme figures out that the Odessa like chick that he knocked up,
Yeah, that
like
scene was actually interesting. Like the
that
double line that was going on, because
yeah.
she's like crying like, I just don't know where we're gonna go, and then he's like, all right, you guys stay here, just keep, and then he's like, wow, that was really good, that you did a really good job there, like pretending you were, and then she's like actually crying though. He's like,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
what are you doing, are you really crying? And she's like, no, and she wipes her face, and then it's like makeup. She like basically made it look like she was hit by her husband, even though I guess she
Yeah.
wasn't, which is also kind of fucked up and hilarious that he just like hit this guy.
Yeah. He like hit the guy and he actually didn't deserve it in that moment. But
Right.
it's almost this funny moment where you realize that they're kind of made for each other, like that she's also like a hustler and a liar,
Yeah.
which I kind of liked. And then he's just like really freaking out at her at that point. He's like, I don't have time for this. And then she starts screaming, and the fat guy comes in, and there's this really funny line where she's like, the baby's his. And the fat guy still thinks it's their siblings.
Yeah.
That was really funny. And then the fat guy dumps all the ping pong balls out the window, which I was also.
He's like, It's
Oh my god, bro! I gotta say, did I
a
send
great
it to
way to
you?
end the scene.
I sent you. I think I sent it to you. I'll send it to you after this if I haven't already. There's this
Gotcha.
a hype edit of the fat guy on Side Talk, like screaming about Trey Young, and then it cuts to him and Marty Supreme. He's like, "You tricked me! You tricked me!" he's like,
No.
"Fuck you, you lying bitch!" And he's like really nasty with her. And then Timothy Chalamet's like, "Whoa, whoa!" And then
Yeah.
it shows him dumping all the ping pong balls out the window.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's so funny. No, because there's this thing with the movie where people are so like ruthless with each other that
Yeah.
it makes me like the movie even more. Where I'm like, because again, you're so far down the rabbit hole of this guy's life is falling apart and he's a shithead that it's like hilarious, but he's also so like unlikable that it almost again it makes me like the movie more because it's like, why would you even like root for this guy? He like just genuinely he like his whole dream is crazy. You know, he doesn't have like a real dream. The whole thing is like fake. Like he's not. There's no evidence that he's gonna actually get into this tournament. Like I don't think he's like even been invited. He gets a thing in the mail earlier in the film, and he got fined too because he threw such a hissy fit at the table tennis thing.
Right.
He has to pay this crazy ass fine, and so eventually they start trying to trick Abel Ferrara with a fake dog or with not his dog and being like.
God.
So then Odessa goes to meet up with him, and that's when you realize that he's like a legit mobster, because then he's like, clearly he has like a gun and like a knife and all this stuff, and I think he just walks up to someone and just stabs them. Like,
Yeah, well, it's crazy that like she's in like a pit where it's so like fucked up because she's like no, you're gonna give me the money first, but then we'll like give you the dog, and it's like any rational person on the other end of that like telephone call would be like, you're what? No, like what the fuck?
yeah, and then she's asking for like $10,000 or something. He's like,
Or it's 2,000, I think. She's like, well, I'm like pregnant, and I just think and it's like, dude, what? She's just
He's like,
she's
"I got
forced
the
to be in
dog
this
at the
position
pound."
where she's like just looks like such a like insane person.
Yeah,
She's like
he's like,
Timothy
"I got the
Chalamet is
dog
right
for
next to her while
free."
she's on the phone, and she's like, "That's too much money. That's way too much money. What are you talking?" Like he's like, "Just do it. Just do it."
Oh
And he's
my
like, "No,"
god!
and then he and then I guess the plan is to like get a dog that looks like the dog because
Yeah,
they've
and
already
he
been to the
instantly.
house. Basically, the dog is at a house near the gas station where they fended off the guys with the gasoline.
Yeah,
But I guess for whatever reason, this guy kind of like, I don't know, I would say like hillbilly standoffish is just set on keeping the dog in his house.
yeah, it's like kind of unexplained why this random guy just wants this dog, and so they know it's there and they can't get it back, but then they try to trick him. Abel Ferrara stabs someone in broad daylight, and he looks at the dog. He's like, "That's not my dog." He like knows like instantly, and it looks exactly the same.
He's like, motherfucker. And he's just like walking and just like, ah, and like stabs the guy. And I was like, oh my God.
and he has a sling on too because he had his arm like snapped by the
Oh,
tub.
yeah.
So he's in a sling and he just stabs some like normal person in such a violent way. And then he like is holding this Odessa chick hostage. And that's when Marty Supreme is like, all right, well, we know where the dog is. Let's take you. And it's like this another moment that I really loved is the fact that they're just straight up leading, because the last time they saw this dog was at this crazy guy's house who tried
Right.
shooting at them with a shotgun. And so then it's like, all right, let's just like wander back into that. And we're just
Right.
going to have Abel Ferrara try and get this dog back. He hears the dog barking inside. He's like, that's him.
Wait, before that, he goes to the, what is it, like the ping pong like club underground? It's like a club.
Oh yeah, we're skipping that he goes to the opening night of Gwyneth Paltrow's thing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another really funny scene is that I guess that's after, now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
after this.
Well, I was going to say George Gervin is the ping pong club owner.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when that guy is like also, do you remember what was it? The homeless guy with the golden radio voice in Ohio?
Oh, I'm forgetting.
This was like right when we were in like middle school or high school where they found this guy. It was like an OG like famous YouTube video where they found this homeless guy and they're like, "Hey, let's hear that radio voice." And he's just incredible. And
oh, yeah. He's also in the ping pong thing.
Yeah, right? He was in it for like 2 seconds. I was like, "Oh, I know that dude." But I'm
mixing up the scenes, but at one point he tries to steal Gwyneth Paltrow's necklace and it's
yes.
jewelry, and she's like, "You're an idiot," and she's kind of ruthlessly like, "I'm like down to fuck, but I don't like, and at a certain point, I think another really outlandish scene before we get to Abel Ferrara trying to get his dog back,
right,
is Marty goes to the opening night of Gwyneth's play, and it's clearly kind of like a hack play. She's like doing like a southern accent, and it's like really funny, like in like a like okay, this play is probably not good, like kind of sense.
Right.
And afterwards, they're like going to like the park, and he like almost starts to like eat her out in the park.
Yeah, well, she's like, he tries to steal her necklace, but it's like the costume prop necklace.
Yeah, so she
And then
offers
she's
him a real one.
So he's like, he brings it back. He was like, I was going to like steal this, but like, because I need some money and I'm desperate. And then she's like, she ends up like agreeing to give him like a real necklace.
Yeah, she's like, my husband's given me a necklace every
She says
year
I have
for
like
15
25 of,
years.
25 of them.
Yeah, and then they're in the park, and he's like, literally, it's a crazy shot. He's like literally, you see, like he's like about to like take her underwear off and like
Yeah,
like on the grass, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this in the park. And some cops pull up, so they have to bribe the cops to not arrest
they have to
them.
bribe the cops with the thing. So then
with the necklace. And then one of the funniest moments in the movie is after they barely don't get arrested, he's like, can you get another necklace?
he's like, yeah.
And she's like, no, I need to go to all these people are waiting for me. And like, she like is literally trying to get fucked in the park of her opening night. Like, and all these people are at her house to celebrate. That was one of the things that I also really liked, is the fact that she just had this kind of like, she had this cold feeling with him. Like, she was kind of like, this is not my first rodeo. Like, I'm going to cheat on my husband. I don't give a fuck. But she also clearly was just down. Like, she would kind of be cold and cutting to Timothy at times, and like be like, you know, you got to like figure out how to live your life. But also,
Right.
I will help you out, like at the last second. And so she agrees to go get him another necklace, which of course, maybe she didn't even like mean it, because she's like, okay, I'm going to like go upstairs. And I'm getting all this stuff confused, because eventually, so then there's a scene that's already kind of become like, people are talking about it. Does this happen before or after this another shootout with Abel Ferrara? Because I'm pretty sure it's like this. I think he goes to the party, and then Abel Ferrara kidnaps Odessa. Right, that happens right after he goes to the Gwyneth Paltrow.
I think so.
Yeah, because he goes up, because she's taking forever. She just never comes back down. He comes upstairs, and she's crying in one of the rooms. And I think my mom and stepdad said that her play got bad reviews. So she's just like crying.
Wait, what? Like, that's really, or
yeah, that's what they were saying, is that there was a critic that showed up that hated the play, and she's like, devastated is what they said.
Oh, fuck.
Which I did not pick up on. But
yeah,
that's
that
really
went over
funny.
my head.
So then he comes upstairs, and he's like, I'm so desperate. I don't have a necklace. I don't have any money. I like, you know, he doesn't even realize that Odessa is about to get taken hostage by Abel Ferrara. And he just comes to Kevin O'Leary again and is just like begging him to take him to Japan. And this is when really the most like talked about scene of the movie, I would say, arguably, happens, is that Kevin O'Leary like emasculates him, which again kind of twists the knife into like what kind of movie this is, that it's all about people like conning each other and lying to each other and emasculating each other, you know, because Kevin O'Leary is like, oh yeah, pull your pants down. I'm gonna spank you with this paddle.
Yeah.
And it's like a really crazy scene, because you see like Timothée Chalamet's ass, and he's just smacking him on the ass with this paddle in front of all of his like business friends, and they're all laughing like in such a like disturbing way.
Isn't that real too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just totally real. Honestly, Josh Safdie's a little crazy. You know, apparently he made Timothée Chalamet wear like crazy contacts that fucked up his eyes. And then he made him wear glasses after his eyes were fucked up.
I was wondering about that, because I remember like looking at the film being like, I don't remember Timothée Chalamet's like face looking like this.
Yeah, and then apparently Timothée Chalamet got like an eye infection, and they had to stop doing that. It's like, bruh, like, what is the reason for that? And then he actually was smacking him like with the paddle, like really hard.
Oh my god.
Which is also crazy. It's also like, a little dangerous. So anyway, they go to this. Timothy Chalamet is like at the bottom of his like. Oh my God. He's even telling people, he's like, yeah, I'm going to Japan to play in the championships. He's like, not even happy. He's like so humiliated that he just let this man like embarrass him just so that he could like get this job and pay off this fine and get to Japan, all this kind of thing. And again, it's like, he's not even, you don't really even know if he's in this tournament. It's just like he needs to get to Japan. So he goes to this house. Abel Ferrara shows up at the ping pong place and says, I got your girlfriend hostage and I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to like shoot her in the belly or something like that.
He said, I'm going to take like a hammer and like bash her in the stomach with it or something. And you're like, oh
yeah,
my
Abel
gosh.
Ferrara is just like out of nowhere, just the most like cruel mobster kind of feeling.
It's like a total switch.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like it's just this cute guy with his dog and he's having like the worst day ever. And now it's just, he's the devil.
Yeah, now he's like this guy that's gonna like single-handedly kill all the main characters. So they go to this house where the guy with the shotgun is, the Pendulette, and it's hilarious. Abel Ferrara hears the dog, he's like, that's him. He like totally understands like what he sounds like. He leans up to the window and he just gets I think no, it's his bodyguard. It's the other guy. Leans up to the window and he just gets shot in the face through the glass.
Mm.
And then it's just like a gunfight where they all kill each other. Abel Ferrara kills Pendulette and vice versa. And I think the dog does the dog survive or
the dog's just still barking inside the house. Barking.
And then honestly, another one of my favorite shots of the movie is you figure out that Odessa got shot.
Oh, so yeah.
She gets shot in the car and you're like, oh my God, this is kind of crazy. So then he's taking her to the hospital. He takes her to the hospital and she's like, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Like she's literally like pregnant and she just got shot. And then it cuts to him getting off this fucking airplane in Japan. And you're like, what?
And then it's honestly, like the big like letters throughout the cities that the movie takes place in. And then it's like Tokyo.
Yeah. There's like the little titles.
And it's just like, jeez.
No, that was probably my favorite because I saw that shot in the trailer where he's getting off the plane with the briefcase.
Oh.
And I thought in my brain like, oh, that's probably just like early in the movie, kind of setting up like his whole rise as a ping pong star. But then the way that shot is used is so dark. It's such like a wow, this really is a bad person. Like, who gives a shit about ping pong? It's like the mother of your child. It just got shot. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh my God.
It's like it's so self-centered that you're like, he clearly does not even care about this baby, even a little bit, or the woman. So he shows up in Japan and he has to lose to the Japanese guy, and it's like this very staged thing. And it's like, oh my God, this guy is just constantly getting embarrassed. And what really puts the cherry on top of Kevin O'Leary is like kind of also like the devil, like another character that's like hell bent on like not just like using him, but like embarrassing him and like making him like feel like a loser. Is in this stage game. He's going to be staged. He has to lose. It's a stage game for press for this Japanese, guy who's now an icon in Japan after winning this major ping pong tournament earlier in the film. And the stage game, the loser has to kiss a pig.
Yeah.
Which is like, what? That's like not something they ever brought up. And it's like, what the fuck? Which, again, I think some of this is because Marty like was making jokes about this guy's dead son. in World War II, and he's just like, I'm gonna kill this kid. Like, I'm literally gonna like break this guy's spirit. So there's a lot of that. Like, it's kind of what goes around comes around. Sure. But even then, you're like, bruh, it's a stage game. Why does he have to kiss a pig on the ass? That's crazy. So then he flips the script, and then it's the climactic sequence that you're assuming is going to happen in this movie, but you don't know when it's going to happen. Because again, going into the movie, I thought, oh, this is going to be a conventional sports movie, ping pong thing. and he's gonna have a big game. There's gonna be ping pong sequences, and there are some earlier in the film, and there's scenes of conning, and there's some scenes where he's just kind of dominating. But then the real climactic moment is before he has to kiss this pig. He's like, "Everyone, the game was fake."
He goes like, whoa, 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 wait.
He starts trying to tell this crowd of Japanese people that don't speak English that the game wasn't real, that they just played, that it was a stage game, and he wants another game. So he tries to pitch the Japanese guy who had beaten him earlier in the film to have a real game. Endo, yeah, and he's also deaf, which is kind of a nice, interesting, like little like characteristic. And the guy, very honorably, of anyone in the film, kind of ironically, his biggest rival, this ping pong guy, actually treats him the best in a way, because he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Right.
He's like, "I'll give you the shot." Like he just kind of accepts it, like in a very kind of Japanese way of like he's not excited about it, but he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like he's respectful, but he's clearly, I said this to my parents afterwards, but I think that's actually a little bit of the subtext too of how the game ends up going. Is I don't think this guy was prepared to play like a really serious game as well. So there's some of that this is such a weird circumstance. So then the movie breaks down into this like epic ping pong death match where all these Japanese people are like rooting for this guy to win, and Kevin O'Leary is like, bruh, like do not. And there's like press, and there's like American there, like American GIs and stuff, and like
remind me of like Rocky 4.
Yeah, it's kind of like this energy is like this epic ping pong match, and they go back and forth, and it's a great game. It's like super evenly matched, and pretty much cutting to the chase. I mean, again, that's the thing with sports movies is like, I like this one because the character is so hateable, and also because this whole thing is fake. Like this moment, like in a normal sports movie, you get like a national championship or the World Series or even like a playoff game or something that's like a real objective thing. But this is like an invention. This is literally Marty Supreme. He has moved heaven and earth. He's left his girlfriend potentially to die in the hospital from a gunshot wound. And he's left people dead. Abel Ferrara got killed. Like all these people got killed, and like he's literally in Japan, and he somehow gets this guy to play him for real. And it's not in a tournament. He sees the British like Indian guy who like runs the table tennis like league, and he won't admit him to the tournament. So it's like he came all this way to Japan. He's not even to be able to be in the tournament. So now he's just in this promotional thing where he has to lose, and then he has to kiss this pig when he loses. So it's not even real, and it's also like embarrassing. And so he convinces Kendo to play, and it's like this brutal sequence where it's exciting with like the music and like when you're sitting there in the audience watching this, because it's like, wow, this is like the end of the movie for sure, of him having this game. And it is really exciting. And I think there's some real table tennis and there's some fake. Like there's some stuff that's fake in the movie, like in the table tennis sequences. Timothy definitely learned how to play really good, is the vibe I get. But yeah, he beats him. It's like a very close game. It's like tied late, and then he like wins, and he just like reacts like he won the Super Bowl. He reacts the exact same way that Endo did when he beat him for the real title. He like collapses on the ground like in tears, essentially.
And then, when Kevin O'Leary realizes in the crowd that like Marty might win this, he kind of tells him like he like walks up to the side backstage and talks to him, and he's like, "You're not getting a ride home, no matter what happens." Like, and he said, "Like you're never going to be happy." He's like, "There's many guys like me. There's many guys like you. Like the system."
Yeah.
Apparently,
he said I'm a vampire.
It says Kevin O'Leary says he came up with vampire speech in Marty Supreme.
Oh wow, yeah, because he looks him in the eyes. He's like, "I'm a vampire. I've been alive for hundreds of years, and
I was born in 1600."
Yeah, there's always been kids like you, and they'll never be happy. And he's just like, Timothy Chalamet kind of just shrugs it off, like you're that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Shut the fuck up. and then he proceeds to win. And it really is this amazing moment where the concept of greatness, or the concept of like aspiring for something, it really becomes abstract in like a really awesome way, where you're like, okay, like, in Uncut Gems, he needs like this bet to hit, and there's kind of like this anticlimactic, almost like devastating ending. Even though I think the parlay hits in the movie in Uncut Gems, but then Adam Sandler gets like killed or something like that. And obviously, we're super deep in this episode. If you haven't seen Uncut Gems, what are you doing?
What are you, dude?
But it's like this thing where the movie's ramping you up for this big win. I love that line in Uncut Gems, like, this is how I win.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of become a meme. But
I
that
do
really
wonder
is
though, like watching Uncut Gems, seeing it today, where Marty's like crying, and then it's like, is he about to just get? I don't know. Like, is he just like, my imagination runs wild. I'm like, is he about to get sniped or something, or like,
yeah.
Kevin O'Leary just runs up on stage and like stabs him and cuts his neck or something? I don't know.
Well, I did think to myself that, because I was really pumped on that. Again, I think there's something about sports movies that's just kind of silly in general, because I don't think of, to me, sports are fundamentally different than film, because film is an art. And sports, there's objective like winners and losers. And when you make a movie where the hero is going to win, I just think that's like kind of boring for me
Sure.
artistically. And whether that be superheroes, you know they're going to win, action movies, or you know. But obviously, there's been some great sports movies. My idea of a sports movie is like Raging Bull, which is like completely transcends. It's not at all about. It's not fucking like It's not
You burnt my
whatever.
steak.
It's not Remember the Titans or something, or it's not,
Oh yeah, yeah. I get what
Glory
you're saying.
Road. And you can enjoy those movies. They're fun, but they're kind of like antithetical to what film is supposed to be, which to me is about something more abstract and about emotions and about getting you into a place that you're not expecting, but then you can feel an emotion you're not expecting. Which, to give credit to Marty Supreme, I was actually very surprised on how I was feeling in those ending parts, where I was like, wow, this is actually like kind of moving to see, because you know that there's going to be a big ping pong game. Like, that's always kind of in the air. You just don't know how it's going to be pulled off. But for the game to be so fake, for it to not be like, for it to be so like just based on him getting his get back, him giving the middle finger to Kevin O'Leary, him defeating his old rival, and then you see the Japanese people in the crowd like
They're so
heartbroken.
devastated. They're like, oh no,
They're
no.
like so broken that you're
It's
like,
crazy.
which is really, really, really funny.
The
But
one dude,
it's
like
also-
the one dude, like just closes his eyes and like grimaces in pain and just sticks his arms in the air for like 6 seconds.
they're like national hero.
He was like, oh my god.
Their national hero gets defeated.
And speaking, like, the United States just dropped a bomb like 10 years ago on this country. It's just
Yeah,
like,
that's the other
Jesus
thing that's
Christ. The
hilariously
subtext is
bizarre.
a lot too, obviously.
No, yeah. So that moment is pretty. To me, that was pretty cool. Like, that was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, if you're gonna make a sports movie, like Josh Safdie said, that a sports movie is like aspirational, and it's like kind of about a guy trying to win, and all of this kind of thing. That to me is a more unique way to do it, where I'm like, okay, because I just couldn't take it. If the movie was like, if it was like a ping pong tournament and it was just very stereotypical, and like the movie ends with like a legit ping pong tournament, I would have been like, this movie like kind of sucks, But the fact that he gets so embarrassed, he gets so like humiliated. The fact that he's such a hateable character, he literally, in the most, it's just, you can't even redeem the decision to leave his pregnant girlfriend
Oh my
in
gosh.
in the hospital with a gunshot wound. That's one of the craziest, like, what are you doing? But it really is kind of moving, where it's like, this is like an idea, like winning, This is how I win, like Uncut Gems. It really does get you pumped where you're like, yeah, this really is like going to enter into the conversation for like a generational sports movie, because it gets so close to, that Michael Jordan thing of like, like taking something personally. And I know Timothy Chalamet said that in the press for this, which at the time I thought was really cringe, saying he watched The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan thing. But I kind of do see it now. Now that I see this movie, I kind of do see why he would watch The Last Dance and be like, yeah, because that really is the character. It's a guy that like losing is almost like worse to him than like winning. But that's not really true because he's just constantly losing and the movie's constantly getting humiliated. But like, I feel like even though he has this respect for the Endo Japanese ping pong player, he's more at war with just being a competent person. Timothy Chalamet, that's more like where he loses. But when he has that game, I really feel like his girlfriend and the baby, they could be like dead and he like could care less. Like it really is like psychopathic, like Michael Jordan. Like, like in The Last Dance when Michael Jordan says like he would like lie to himself about people. Like he wouldn't just take things personally, he would like invent things. Like he would make up things about his opponents just to get himself pumped. And that's almost like that is like Timothy Chalamet has taken winning to such a compulsive place that for him, he's convinced himself that winning in this fake way actually means he's a success. Which I almost said after I saw the movie, if we're being honest on what happens after the movie to these characters, he probably does become a ping pong celebrity because there was all this press and it was on video and like it was like all these people saw that. So he probably does become successful in the ping pong world, I would say, which is also kind of like fascinating, because it's clearly, it's a fake sport and it just has no foundation in sports culture. It never caught on like as like a thing. People are into tennis, you know what I mean? Like people follow tennis, people follow golf. I've never heard anyone talk about ping pong, like professional ping pong, And this movie kind of exists in all like almost like this alternative history where like if this guy pulled this off, he actually would have become like a celebrity in America. Like in that context, like this impromptu game. So anyway, I was kind of on the fence with like kind of my rating for this film and like where I don't know where I rank it like in terms of like the full year. I don't know if I put it in like my top 10 or it's probably like in the top 15 at least. But yeah, to me, the cherry on top, and I just like that my mom liked it, was the actual ending. Like he gets back to America.
Yeah, the ending was
And
really confusing to me.
oh yeah,
like emotionally.
because he gets back to America and his girlfriend had the baby in the hospital.
Right.
And there's this kind of beautiful moment where he goes and sees his baby and he just starts sobbing, which I forgot that that's actually how Call Me By Your Name ends too. So that's kind of becoming the Chalamet like lore, is that he just starts sobbing at the end of every one of his performances.
Huh. Well,
but I was really touched by it. I was kind of surprised that I was so touched by seeing this little baby's face. And I think some like song starts playing.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Oh yeah, how does that one go?
Tears for Fears, like everybody wants to rule the bomb.
Oh wow. Yeah, and I really love that ending because it's like the only time. And then the other thing I was going to say is that when he goes into the hospital and he says, "I'm here to see this girl and she had my baby." It's like the only time in the movie he said something to someone that's like not a lie.
It's the only time he tells her that I'm pretty sure that he says I love you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When they're driving away after like she gets shot, when they're back at the guy's house with the dog, she's like I love you, and he's just like he just doesn't even say anything back.
Oh yeah, when
even,
he's
like,
driving the car.
her.
Yeah, he's driving the car. He doesn't say anything.
That's what I was saying. Like, there's a lot of that, like, kind of felt like some sort of thing in the movie with that phrase "I love you."
No, I mean, childbirth in cinema is very special. I mean, I think in general,
Yeah.
childbirth is a special thing. But in film, like, it almost reminds me of, like, I don't know if you've seen Juno in a number of years,
Oh, it's been a
but
minute.
that movie ages so well because it's fundamentally about how birth is like a beautiful and transcendent like act of humanity.
Yeah.
And there's that shot of Jennifer Gardner with her baby, and you don't know if Elliot Page nowadays, but the lead of a former name, a different name back with
Sure.
their break. I mean, this is their breakout role in Juno, but you don't know if that character is going to give the baby up for adoption after all, because Patrick Bateman and Jennifer Gardner break up. And when you see Jennifer Gardner holding this baby she's adopted, it just really is something special. It's really like moving, and that's kind of like the feeling I almost get with Marty Supreme. And there's something that's so incredible about the fact the baby looks so healthy. Like, it was born like weeks early, probably because of the gunshot being like a traumatic like thing or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you have to suspend your belief. The baby looks so healthy and normal that it's like a total miracle. It's like a
Yeah.
complete miracle that this movie where this guy gets humiliated ends with him having a perfectly healthy baby. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's weird though, because he does like genuinely seem happy when he says you'll never be happy. Like
Well, yeah, I don't.
he's basically crying the rest of the movie. Like he's crying after he beats Endo in Tokyo.
Yeah, yeah. No, because he really wins in the end of the film, which is hard to believe because I still don't know. I don't think he ever pays off that like debt, right? I don't think he gets the money to pay the fine, or
Yeah,
doesn't
because he doesn't play in the tournament.
Yeah, and I think Kevin O'Leary, I feel like he probably wouldn't pay him after he fucks him over like that.
Yeah, because he says, I know I'm not getting my money.
Yeah, and he's like, you're not getting a ride back either.
So how did he even get home?
No, he jumped on the GI.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
There are like American GIs watching the ping
And then
pong
there's like a
game.
kid that's like, Dad, you're home, and like jumps into his. I was like, holy shit! I remember that now. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was awesome. Now that we like talked all the way through it, I mean, there are things about it that, and I don't know. Just to wrap up this like conversation, I genuinely do think that Josh Safdie he's a little bit on the side of making movies for entertainment, which to me is like a problem. Like, I don't think that's like an artistic pursuit. I mean, I think the movie has, like we were saying, amazing production design, great cinematography, amazing performances up and down. Like the whole thing. I mean, it's like every single aspect of the movie is well made. So it's like it's hard for me to sit here and say the movie's bad. It's not bad. I think it's phenomenal. I'm trying to see it again. It was so enjoyable. But for me to sit here and say that that's like the best movie I've ever seen, it's I
Sure.
I still think in terms of just American cinema. I mean, I think One Battle After Another is levels above. I mean, I think we'll get into our rankings later, but I mean, when we talked about The Secret Agent last week, to me, The Secret Agent is like a completely other level of like artistic control and all this kind of stuff. And we're really talking about film as an art form. If we're talking about film as a popcorn thing, I would say like you go to the movie to have fun, or like I said, that's why I liked seeing it in the suburbs, because when I grew up, all I could do in the suburbs was go to a movie theater, and a lot of the time I couldn't see a lot of foreign films that I later was able to see when I got to the suburbs. But it really kind of exemplifies some of the best kind of films you can see at like an AMC. It's like it's like the cream of the crop in that regard. But again, I don't think I have like any real criticisms for it. I have little head scratching things about that I think like we were saying with the music. I don't know if I say I have like a particular problem. I just have a problem with acting like the softies are like the greatest thing of all time. Like, I think they're very impressive and they're entertaining as hell, but there's something a little bit, there's just a little something like missing, you know? Like, I'm open minded though. I could see this again and I might, who knows, maybe I'll rewatch Uncut Gems and stuff. These movies are so entertaining. I mean, these are movies that people will talk about for a long time and it could win best actor, you know?
Yeah.
You know, respect at the end of the day, respect to Timothy Chalamet. I was definitely impressed. I I think the hype is definitely, I would say the hype for this movie is real for the most part, just from the standpoint of Timothy Chalamet saying, "Everyone, you should see this. You will love it." I do think it's one of those movies that it's very like you got to really kind of be like very cranky and not enjoy having a good time in a movie to hate the movie.
Yeah.
But for me to say that the best movie of the year is just an entertaining movie, that's not my perspective. You know, I love films that are, you know, slower. I love films that are willing to take risks in the sense that they're not trying to be entertaining and they're trying to do something more spiritual or artistic. So I don't know. We'll see. I would rather, and also I definitely think the lead of the secret agent is levels above this Timothy performance. I would much rather he win best actor, but I'm not going to throw a hissy fit if Timothy Chalamet wins. I think it would be kind of cool for him to win for this role. It is a pretty awesome character. He's pretty rotten. And it's hard not to kind of root for Timothy Chalamet because I know it's a movie and it's acting, but he really like put himself out there with this one. I mean, he's done like gay shit like before Call Me by Your Name and stuff, which again is also it's very vulnerable and there you have to be pretty courageous
Oh, for
to
sure.
be in all kinds of I mean, I don't think he's bisexual at all. I think he's just completely straight, which maybe he's not, maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, like that's a pretty bold decision early in your career to become famous for playing a gay character to like do the scenes he did in that movie. And I was impressed by that film. Like I thought he was tremendous in that film. Where I got rubbed the wrong way with Timothy Chalamet is just the fact that he's so famous that it's like, okay, I do think Humphrey Bogart or God forbid, I mean, you don't even have to look back that far. I mean, Robert De Niro, like that's like my idea of like, I mean, even Leo. I was never even the biggest Leo fan, but Leo looks like he looks like a grown man compared to Timothy Chalamet. But
Right.
to me, this role felt, you know, with a lot of his roles, he at times he's cast well, at times he's not cast well. To me, I think he earned it with this one, and I don't know, just there's something about him just getting spanked on the ass with a paddle where you're like, oh, there's a part of me that's a little bit like similar to if you're a straight man and you have to play this like some of the gay stuff from Call Me by Your Name. I couldn't imagine doing that. I think that's like genuinely kind of terrifying, you know, like you're going to get mocked for the rest of your life by a lot of people in this world.
Mm.
Um but similarly, if you're offering an actor a role in a script and you're like, yeah, your character at one point is so embarrassed that he gets spanked on the ass by a paddle and everyone laughs at him. That's pretty crazy. that's like that's like Joseph Sternberg, like the Blue Angel. Like that's like some hideous like tragedy type stuff where you're like, oh my God. Like it's almost like it's not a funny scene. Like it really is humiliating. And that's a crazy like that takes courage to do that role. Like I know it's a movie and you know, I mean, I don't think it's just about the pain, but that's like that's humiliating. Even acting that scene, it really is kind of something. It's like John Cazale, you know, like to play a character that's just completely pathetic and gross, and
Mm.
they're never succeeding. Like, and I know Marty Supreme ends up succeeding at the end of the movie, but to show like the lows like that, you really have to go to like a certain place, I think, mentally. So it's a great performance. I mean, I would damn near say it's like man or a woman for the year, I definitely think it's in like the top 5. I mean, I think Wagner Moura is up there. I think Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, is the best performance of the year.
Damn.
That's the greatest performance. I mean, that's arguably one of my favorite performances ever. That's up there. Benicio del Toro is insane in One Battle After Another. And then
There's word that he might sneak in and overtake Sean's momentum.
I could see it. They both, we riot if they both aren't nominated.
No,
But
they're at least Sean Penn's getting nominated no matter what. But I would bet that they both do.
But yeah, then Renette Reinsve, or however you say her name,
Mm-hmm.
she's, I mean, if you see that movie, I mean, you will literally be like, yeah, that's pretty much the best actress in the world. I mean, it's eerily similar to like Mikey Madsen last year, where it's like, okay, I mean, it's not as like vulnerable as of a performance in the sense of like there's not like she doesn't have like a bunch of sex scenes the way Mikey Madsen does, and Mikey Madsen is very like screaming and crying and like very intense, and Renette Reinsve definitely is that, but she's magic. Like she has this really kind of quiet intensity, but she's also playing an actress in the movie, so there's like some really brilliant acting within acting stuff that's just like technically unbelievable. And then her scenes with Stellan Skarsgård are just like, I could really see some of those scenes being like taught for years to come.
Yeah. Fuck, I gotta see that now.
Oh yeah, no, I think you would really love Sentimental Value. It's wonderful. I really loved it, to be honest. That and Hamnet, I think, are both. Like, if someone said that those are their favorite movies of the year, I definitely respect it. I mean, I don't think either of those are in my like list, just because there's been completely transcendent films made this year. But if you said those, I think that is really cool, because I think the goal of those movies is artistic. It is like emotional and all this stuff. And I think Marty Supreme is better made than those two movies. And I feel like there's less technically wrong, and I have almost no criticisms of Marty Supreme. I'm struggling to see where the depth is, like the emotional depth. Like, because again, just a movie about someone winning is like, it can be a classic, but it's we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll see it again and I'll like it even more. But yeah, we'll do our rankings soon. I think this has just been an incredible year for film. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the conversation for one of the most entertaining, like, medium budget kind of movies of like a number of years. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it again. And I wouldn't mind if I mean, I would love to see like Odessa get a nomination, or Gwyneth Paltrow. That would be really cool.
I would like to see her in there.
Abel Ferrara, like some of the other actors, I would also love to see. It's a great year for film, some really great performances. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I don't know if do you have anything else to say?
I don't know, Timmy. I'm sorry. I love you.
Anyway, good night, everybody.
Peace, y'all.